And this is for the, say, text environments. There are other environments which are useful for mathematical text. And so I will introduce these environments using displayed math. So the first thing is the split environment. So say that you want to write, say, a long, say, chain of, I don't know, equations like x equals a times b plus c times d plus e. And this equals, because you want to show how algebra works, say a equals b plus cd plus ce, and then this equals ab plus acd plus ace. Now, of course, if you type this, you get the equation right in the middle of the screen, and of course, in this way, you get an equation with, say, 3 equations, actually, a chain of equations. But if you want to display each passage, each multiplication that you did, it is better to rewrite the equation in a slightly different way using the the split environment. Yes, the split environment. So we can change this to this. Now I copy this, and then I paste it down, and then I start with begin split, and as usual we get begin, say, the pair begin end, and then we have x, and then the equal sign, but before the equal sign we put an ampersand sign. And you notice that in the table up above, the ampersand sign here was actually the sign that said this is the position. This is on the right. On the left you have the first column, on the right you have the second column, and this is exactly, it's kind of a tab position in the place. So we want all the equal signs to be aligned. So let's say x equals this, and then we go to a new line, and then we say again and equal, and then we copy this, double backslash to get to a new line, again and equal, and then we copy this. Now the output of this, as you see here, is x equals a plus b, and well, is the equation has been split into 3 different equations. Of course, the number of, say, lines depends on what you want, but of course in this way is much clearer. And if the equation, in some cases the equation is extremely long, you can split the equation, say, whatever you want. And so this is a very useful environment. Another useful environment in maths mode is the so-called cases environment. The cases environment is useful for say, describing piecewise defined functions. So again, we open a displayed math environment, so backslash bracket, square bracket, and then we have, say, f of x, and then we have backslash begin cases, begin cases. I don't understand why it doesn't find begin cases. Well, we have end cases. Okay, and you see that when we write this, we get f of x equals a left brace, and then we can just, say, type say, the cases. So for example, the function f of x is x plus 2 whenever, say, x is greater than or equal to 0, And then the second line is x squared if x is negative. And so you see the code on the left, and you also see the output on the right. And you see that we got f of x equals x plus 2 for x non-negative, and x squared for x negative. And this is very common. Of course, there might be more than 2 cases. It's just a matter of adding new lines with the double backslash. Finally, we have another environment which is useful to type tables of numbers, which, well, maybe someone already knows about it. That is matrices. For matrices, we have an environment which is called, well, you guess it, is matrix. So again, we start with an empty displayed math environment, and then we start with begin, and then we have matrix. I don't know why it doesn't find yeah, begin matrix. Now matrix is an environment to organize numbers in a way, and you see that the syntax is kind of obvious. So let's say that we have a table with 2 rows and 3 columns, a table of numbers, but could be also expressions. So like 1, say 2, say x squared, and then in the second line we have second row is 5, say y, and say, I don't know, 3 or negative 3. And so what you get this way, you see, is a table of mathematical expressions here: 1, 2, x squared, 5y, negative 3. Usually matrices are say table of numbers or expressions are enclosed in parentheses. So the typical setting is to have to start a matrix with left open parenthesis, backslash left open parenthesis, and close with backslash right close parenthesis. What you get this way is, you see it on the right now, a table of numbers enclosed in parentheses. Now this is the standard notation for a matrix. So I don't oh yes, I left the second a return line. So this works, but it's so common that for this environment, for the matrix environment, a different environment has been created. So I just copy this and I paste it again, and I remove the left and right parentheses, and instead of matrix I type P matrix. So it's P matrix at the beginning and P matrix at the end. And what you get this way is exactly the same as before, because P matrix is a shortcut for not having to type all the things in the previous example. And finally, another example which is very common in applications: what if you want to write a system of say equations? So for system of linear equations, or whatever the equations are, well, the structure is more or less the same as in a matrix, but you have just, say, an equation, so left hand side, an equal sign, the right hand side, and many equations possibly. So again, we start with an environment, and then we start with the sign that denotes a system of equations. So is backslash left L brace, which stands for a left brace. So what we get here is a left brace, and then we need the matrix. So say that I'm gonna copy this, no, sorry, this, okay, and say that the equation is 3x plus y equals 0, the first equation, and the second one is 2x minus y equals 1. And of course, if you type this, you see that you get an error here. Why? Well, let's see. We can hover the mouse, and you see it says unexpected close display math after \left. Yes, because every left \left must have a corresponding \right. But in this case, you just want the brace on the left and not the one on the right. So the trick here, which is not a trick, it's something that is defined in LaTeX, is to have right dot. Dot means essentially nothing. So what you have here is exactly what you want. That is a couple of equations with the equal sign displayed as is common to do in ordinary math. And that's all for environments, both textual and mathematical.